Hare Krishna, welcome back, friends. Welcome, Madan Sundar Prabhu.
Hare
So
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we finished 1.20 by telling our audience that Arjuna is going to speak for the first time, and Krishna also will be responding to him. So I'll just chant the verses. So, friends, this is chapter 1, text 21 and 22. Okay. Arjuna Uvacha Senayorubayormadhye Ratham Stapayamechyuta Yavadetan Niriksheham Yodhukaman Avasthitan Kairmaya Sahayodhavyam Asmin Ranasamudyame. Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Text 23 also we are taking together. Yotsyamananaviksheham yaete atra samagataah ardharashtrasya durbuddher yuddhe priyachikirshavaha. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Arjuna is angry. He is calling Duryodhan Durbuddhe, evil-minded. So, friends, what we'll be doing here is taking three verses, quite a few significant points here. We'll be dividing this into two parts. So here goes part 1 of text 21, 22, and 23. Arjuna is using word, a name for Krishna, Achyuta, infallible. And this is something very important for the students of the Bhagavad Gita to understand. Is it just a friendly dialogue? One philosopher said in the West, this seems to be one of the earliest instances of a psychiatry session. The client has some problems and the doctor is addressing his issues. So Arjuna is the client, patient, and Krishna is giving him therapeutic medicine of a psychiatry disorder or something like that. Let us see what the Gita talks about this conversation among Krishna and Arjuna itself. The first meaning is this. Although Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he is engaged in the service of a friend. Why? The answer is causeless mercy. As a charioteer, he had to carry out the orders of Arjun, and since he did not hesitate to do so, he is described as infallible. Now, hardly anyone goes around in chariots. It's not the Roman times where people would go from here to there in a chariot. But historically speaking, it is understood that how does the warrior tell the charioteer to move left? You have any idea? He kicks him from behind with his foot on his left shoulder. So the charioteer feels the knee kicking or the ankle, the toe kicking on his left side and immediately moves left, because the battle is all the din and the cries and shrieks and the howling in pain and horses neighing and elephants trumpeting, plus bugles and horns and all the other martial instruments. Now, why would Krishna, if he is God, be allowed to be kicked by his friend? I was a devotee. So, is his supreme position challenged? The Shastras say, in all circumstances, he was called Rishikesha before. That means the Lord of the total senses. So here is something which I would like to give our audience as a takeaway message. The servitor or the devotee is always ready to render any service to Krishna. So is that a one-way traffic? No. Similarly, the Lord is always seeking an opportunity to render some service to the devotee. In fact, He takes greater pleasure in his pure devotees, assuming the advantageous position of ordering him, than he does in being the giver of orders. So, as it is said that if a child today tells his parents, I would like to be the chauffeur at Rashtrapati Bhavan, and they may say, hey man, what kind of ambitions you have? You should be the Rashtrapati, you should be the president. Don't think low. So if you and me are being told by our YouTube motivators that don't think low, keep your goals high, why is God the Most High having some kind of a low ambition as to become a chauffeur or a charioteer of his devotee? Well, here is the answer. It's not actually low. He's already the master. In no situation, the position of master is changed or is threatened. Everyone is on under his orders all the time. No one is above him. But what is that but? When he finds that a pure devotee is ordering him, he obtains transcendental pleasure. Now, we are all pleasure seeking. We seek pleasure in dominating others, exploiting nature, or whatever. Krishna obtains transcendental pleasure when a pure devotee orders him. Just an aside, a friend in New Delhi tells that in the north, people give bundi, bundi ka chadhawa, offering bundi at Vishnu temples or Devi temples or Shiva, whatever temple. And he said many times it is seen that the list of things they want from God, the list is the number is higher than the bundi offered to the Lord at the temple. Now it is good that they have come to the temple and offering something, but here it is not the same. Arjuna is ordering him because Krishna loves to take order from his pure devotee. So the last line of the first paragraph here, Prabhupada says, when Krishna sees a pure devotee is ordering him, he gets transcendental pleasure, although he is the infallible master in all circumstances. Anything you'd like to discuss or add to this first point of Krishna being infallible?
2 points I would like to read from the pulpit. You have mentioned that.
Yeah.
Just once again, it just highlights it for me. And the very first few lines, Prabhupada writes, Krishna never fails in his affection for his devotees. And thus, he's addressed here in as infallible. What a beautiful statement. He never fails in his affection. In Bhagavad Gita, when we go through, Krishna reveals 3 different categories of confidential knowledges. And the most confidential knowledge he reveals in the 9th chapter, Idam Tute Guhyatamam, the most confidential knowledge. So what is that most confidential knowledge? We'll definitely see that at that time. However, Krishna says, just a prelude of it right now, the most confidential knowledge is of relationship between me and the devotees. And the second point, Prabhupada in the purport is, the relationship between the Lord and his servitor is very sweet and transcendental.
Yeah.
So as you were making the point, Krishna gets transcendental pleasure. And Prabhupada is saying the relationship between the Lord and his servitor is very sweet and transcendental. I was remembering this first canto, 16th chapter, verse number 6, where it is mentioned when Parishit Maharaj was on his tour, that how he was told, there, when he met the people, that how, this is a conversation between Sutta Goswami right now, how Parishit Maharaj was informed that Krishna was willing to take any role for his, for his parents, for let's say for Pandavas. He was a Sarthi, he was a peace messenger. Krishna took all the roles possible. And there Prabhupada writes a most beautiful point. That's actually kind of a gist of Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada says Krishna was willing to do everything for Pandavas because Pandavas were malleable to the will of Krishna. And as we'll see as the subject matter builds up, so Bhakta Vatsala, it's not a one-way street, it's a two-way street. We want from Lord, there's something we also need to reciprocate towards the Lord. And that subject matter will unfold as we go ahead. So these are some thoughts on this subject matter. Of course, it's subject
Wonderful,
matter
wonderful.
for our audience, but just some prelude to it.
So we move on now to whether Arjuna is decisive, whether he has made up his mind, or his compassionate nature is playing games in his brain. Let us see. So, first of all, Arjuna is described as a pure devotee of Krishna. And we already saw that when the. Okay, is pure devotion something tangible, something which can be measured, or it is, you might say, how do you know I'm not a pure devotee? I am a pure devotee. No. Before the battle, Arjuna showed his devotion by saying, I don't need the army. I want you. Even if you say you'll be unarmed, you will not pick up arms and you will not fight. So, just like today, when people say, you love me, show me your love. And it's very difficult for people to show love. Love is not something which you show just by Cadbury bars or diamond rings or flowers or roses. Or, as they say on Valentine's Day, will you be my Valentine? It has been trivialized, it has been commercialized. But Arjuna, 5,000 years ago, showed that when it comes to a question of life and death, I choose you, Krishna, and not the resources you have. You may do whatever you want. You may give me victory, you may give me death. I don't care. My love for you remains unchanged. So with this love, Arjuna is showing here that, hey, look, I'm forced to come here. It's because of the obstinacy of Duryodhan, who never agreed to anything. For the benefit of our audience, figuratively, what Duryodhana said was, take a needle, pierce that needle in mud or in earth, and then bring it forth. Check whatever earth has been accumulated on the head of that needle. That much I won't give unless there is a fight. And for those of us in India, we are brought up on the Bollywood staple, अगर मर्द के बच्चे हो तो fight करो. I mean, not to dwell too much on this, but what to do when you face with such obstinacy. So people say that if Krishna is a peacemaker, why did he fail? Well, if God is all powerful, why can't he make the nimba tree give mangoes? Well, the seed is the nimba fruit. The tree will be a nimba tree, and the fruit will be the bitterest of all. So it's not the problem with the Ganga water. Ganga water is pure and sweet. And if you have a mango tree, that mango tree, the mango will be sweet. So just like the water is not to be blamed, the seed is responsible. Similarly, if Krishna's deliberations and Krishna's wisdom is like sweet water of the Ganga, it is Duryodhana's mindset which is the seed of the Nimba tree. And therefore, what came forth was just vile invectives against the Pandavas, threats, and all kinds of things which suit a dictator's mindset. So he was never agreeable. And therefore, Arjun, instead of being convinced that everybody here wants to fight, is showing some bit of anxiety. Let me see who are the leading persons present here. Like how many actually believe that Duryodhana is correct or whatever. Now, there is no question of peacemaking. Arjuna is not thinking that, all right, hey, someone, let's bring a table and chair, let's sit and talk. Sit and talk. That time is gone forever. Still, he wanted to see them again, how much they were bent upon demanding an unwanted war. So, it says that he has this request made. This is the beginning of, as I say, this is not the end, this is not the beginning, this is the beginning of the end. His resolve to fight slowly is getting dissolved. As to I should see who have come here, why are those so evil, and yeah. So we discussed these two main points: Krishna being infallible, whatever role Krishna takes in relation with his devotees, he remains achyuta. And as you also pointed out, that the relationship between Krishna and his devotees is sweet, and now we begin to see the slight deterioration of Arjuna's resolve. Later, have you ever seen a snowball effect? As they say snowball. It at the mountain peak, it starts like a football-sized ball. By the time it comes down, whoa, it can engulf a whole village. So
And Krishna
I
is not going to
am,
fail in that. Krishna is going to help in the
yeah,
snowball effect also.
exactly. So I would say we should stop here for our first part, and
Correct.
then we'll take any residual points plus the first 23 discussion.
Correct. So we'll continue in the next podcast or the next session.
Yeah.
And we'll delve more on what happened in the next verse.
Thank
Hare
you. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.